Today I thought I'd give you a little bit of an understanding of what one of my pieces is about. This is plus 5 foot 2 3/4, which is actually a extension of other sculptures, humanised sculptures I call them, that I've made in the past, called minus 5 foot 2 3/4. So that was inspired by the things that can minus us and make us feel less of a person. And I am 5 foot 2 3/4, which is sort of the neutral one in my collection, which I class as something that is taking on the I am, the something that we can own ourselves and make ourselves feel better with. This piece, plus 5 foot 2 3/4, was inspired by the things that make us feel more human, better a person, more able to cope. So it was inspired by a lot of different life events, some of them not nice, some of them traumatic, but the idea was of kintsugi symbolically putting the embracement of damage into it rather than covering it over or pretending it never happened. So to discuss a little bit about each section, we've got the head here. Now this is made out of a mixture of jesmonite and personal cloth, and then it's been encased in layers of varnish. So to explain, the jesmonite I make into a liquid formalisation, and that's quite a thin layer, which you then I coat each layer of the fabric in. The fabric, of course, is things that relate to me, Lizelle face cloth, the things that I wash the day off, as it were, and familial cloth, so father's old linen, things like that, historical pieces. The head is made with a balloon encasement inside, which you'll see I've made videos of in the past of blowing that up. And that can symbolise itself. The blowing up of a head piece or blowing up of a balloon is symbolic of blowing up a life, the extension of life. Symbolically, you'll notice that that's got a shining coating. And that was really a self-protection layer of how sometimes we try and protect our minds or not allow other people in. But that can be a positive as well as a negative, so I didn't see that as something that was a bad thing. You'll notice here that there's gaps, and that's symbolic that a lot of our minds are damaged or have bits of holes, things that we want to repair but aren't always able to. But we accept they're there, and again, that can be a plus. At times though, we might want to cover them over or at least try and repair them. And I actually emulated this with a little bit of polymorph. Now this is the water-soluble material. It's brilliant. You just keep dipping it in hot water. You can change its texture, and then once it dries, it can stick to any surface or cover any surface. And that is really covering one of the holes there to show that maybe at the back of our heads, which can be the children when they're born with the that permeable membrane at the back of their head, that little point that's less of a less protected or a lot more worrisome to hit, and that's symbolic of covering that over to make sure that we're protected in some way, which again is a plus. The headpiece really is reminiscent of that familial context as well, things that have happened in the past that I personally have needed protection from or have been affected from traumatically in mind-wise. Now notice the front of the sculpture here is made in a 2-layer soft silk. This is to symbolise that things can hit us, but silk, when it's woven together, is a strong material. It also can protect the wearer with a layer of warmth. The arms here, I've classed this as sort of a tattooed fabric because it's got the weave of a pattern through it. So it shows that life can indent us, it can tattoo us, but it actually isn't always a bad thing. We can wear those things with pride, just like a literal tattoo. And notice the arms there are more flaccid. I've not actually decided to stuff them, but that's because they can just lie at our sides and they're happy to be there. They don't have to be puffed up. Now the back is made out of Irish linen to symbolise my own childhood birthplace. and the fact that the back can be something that holds us up, our backbone. And really that's symbolic of also my parents' line in my life, how the backbone can be symbolic of something that holds us up just like they have. I discuss in my learning log about the various scars. The left hand scar here that I've decided to really emulate again through weaving through and stitching through the polymorph. That's an interesting piece there, because that symbolises my dad's heart scar that he's got, which post cardiac arrest operation, and that is really was a positive because that helped to continue his own life. And also my mum's scar from post breast cancer care. So they both have left hand scars, but they can wear them with pride because it is a continuum of life that they wanted more. So again, a positive. Then we're moving on to the legs, which you see are made of, again, the Irish linen to show its strength. And finally, you'll see this scar, which is an elected scar made in that polymorph, which I like because it's sort of spewing out, and that's to symbolise the fact that my dad had a knee replacement. Again, things that build us, things that make us whole, and things that keep us going. We may not always want them or expect them in life, but they can be symbolised by actual certain areas of textiles. Here, the polymorph here is a lovely factor because it does look that little bit like, ooh, we're not quite sure how to take it. And that's what I like about this piece, is I don't think anyone will know how to take the sculpture if it was sitting next to someone. How will they view it? How will they wear it? And notice the symbolic bit of shininess there. Again, something protected, not letting something in. You notice the legs of this piece. I've just let the feet areas there just be allowed to disrepair. And that can be symbolic as well, because sometimes we think that we have to repair every damage in life, but sometimes we don't need to. As you can see there, that one's intact, but that one's being allowed just to disrepair. A final note on the stitching here. The stitching was all made, every piece was made inside out, obviously, and turned the right way, but the stitching is actually gold. And again, that's just a tiny little ode to kintsugi, showing that really whatever in our lives, we can have those little golden elements. And again, you'll see on the stitching there, the light doesn't show it very well today, but you can see that there's tiny little gold intuitive stitches holding the pieces together, just like ourselves might be held together by the people who love us and the people who care about us. This piece can really go anywhere and be stylized and presented and placed anywhere, and it can have different meanings, different styles, different moods. But again, it shows here, this is definitely a plus, the ongoing of one's life.